What's going on, world? Steve Dab 317 back with another reaction video, and as I've told you, I'm going to be releasing my 24 Hours of Tom reaction video to show my appreciation to obviously Tom MacDonald, Nova, to you guys, the entire Hog fam. I've learned a lot. It's been a fun journey. I'm excited to see where it's going to take me. In terms of the reaction during this 24 hours, I thought about just doing the actual songs, but I remember I watched like an intro or interlude or something like that a while back, and it had some really good content. And I recall in the comments, people saying that like he drops gems and bits and pieces of his life doing those even small segments that aren't actually videos. So I'm basically going to go through starting at Dear Rappers, like you've already seen, and I'm going to go click through each link. Some of them are really short. This one is White Boy Before the Shoot. I'm assuming it's not going to be a video, but it looks like it's going to be maybe a Q&A or something like that. So anyways, with no further ado, let's get it cracking.
So, being as this is like a super edgy piece of content, I'm going to play you guys a song right now. Everybody sort of knows what to expect. The first verse especially is pretty rocky, purposefully, to engage the people that are watching it. Second verse onward, it smooths out quite a bit.
Alright, so already, and I'm just going to say already, I like that it has meaning and purpose behind each verse. So I'm glad I watched this because it looked like he's going to go into detail explaining. Like he just said, the first verse he made it a bit rocky. What I also like is just kind of looking around the room. Looked like he went with a diverse demographic, as he was, I'm assuming, consulting with individuals before actually doing his video shoot. So that's cool. That's cool.
That's pretty much it. How does it feel about it? Everybody okay? Yeah.
I started bobbing my head. I thought they was about to play the whole song, and I was going to enjoy listening to it again. But coming out of watching it, the first thing he said, listen again.
That's pretty much it.
Listen to the first thing he says.
Feel about it. Everybody okay? Yeah.
Or at least one of the first things. Is everybody okay? And again, it short series of words, but what does that really tell us? Like, it's not so much of, hey, I'm Tom, this is my way of doing it. I'm going to do it exactly my way. I don't care about what other people think, but it's that I want to know how you feel about things. I want to know how you interpret things, and I'm sure he's determined to get his actual message across, but I think sometimes it's the small things that people do where you can get a true idea of that person's character. Sometimes, like they say, you just got to watch how a person moves. If you watch them long enough, you'll get an idea of who they really are, which is also why I went all the way back to the beginning on the YouTube channel and began on this journey. So, all right, let's see what he has to say.
Yeah. Definitely ask some questions for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Feel free to ask them.
I was just gonna ask, what makes you feel like you need to justify that you're not racist?
I don't feel like I do, and I don't really feel like this song is like.
Oh, before he does his response, I want to process these questions. I'm going to go back about 10 seconds. What makes you feel like you need to justify that you're not racist? My guess is his response is going to be something along the lines of not justifying that he's not racist, but just clarifying that all whites are not racist, or all whites who hold up an American flag are not racist, or, just as much as that applies to all cultures. But I imagine his response is going to be somewhere along those lines.
I was just gonna ask, what makes you feel like you need to justify that you're not racist?
I don't feel like I do, and I don't really feel like this song is like. I'm not racist, but it has been said so many times. I'm Canadian, okay? So the social climate in Canada in terms of like race relations and that type of thing is completely different than it is here in America. And like quite simply put, like I wasn't prepared for that how intense the racial shit is out here. Obviously, like the roots in America run far deeper than they do in Canada, so it was like pretty eye-opening to come out here, and especially like under Donald Trump's administration and everything that perpetuates, it was pretty like eye-opening for me to experience that. And because the last two songs I released were targeting the content of mumble rap, so like over-sexualization of women, alcohol consumption, Xanax use, overspending, party culture, like that type of thing. And because I targeted that content, I had a lot of people, like my page went from like 1,000 likes to like almost 200,000 likes in the course of like 3 months. So there's hundreds of thousands of comments on these videos, and a small portion of them, but enough for me to like, my phone blows up all day. And I look down at what people are saying on these videos, and a quarter of these hundreds of thousand comments are people saying like, yo, this guy's a fucking racist, he's targeting black rappers, he's a culture vulture, etc., which just comes with the territory. But it's like, we've never targeted black rappers. We didn't target any rappers of a particular color, we targeted rappers of a particular content. And there's white rappers, and there's Asian rappers, and there's all types of rappers that talk about that exact same shit. So this song was fueled by pretty much the reaction to my last two videos. And it has less to do with me feeling like I need to stand up and say, hey, I'm not racist, and more to do with me feeling like I need to respond to these people that have been saying wild shit on a public forum that is my page for the last 3 months.
Gotcha.
So
it's more of like a culture shock from you moving here
absolutely.
and then these people assuming that you're racist.
Absolutely. And I mean, my neighbor, some of the stuff he listens to is like, it's straight up, it's anti-white. And it blares from his house all the time. And he talks to me, he's like, yo, you got a problem with this shit? And I'm like, nah, bro, it's music, like, it's all good. So anyways, I had him come over to the house, and I played him this song before I even decided to go through with the video or whatever. And is like, very, very, very like pro-black, like very pro-black. And he straight up told me, he said, look Tom, like I understand that like you're a rapper and like, yeah, you're one of the good ones and you want to be down with like hip hop culture and he's like, I'm gonna tell you straight up, just because I live in America and I grew up here, and as my experiences as a black man in America, if I didn't know you and I saw you walking down the street and I'm hanging out with my black friends, I'm assuming you're racist before I even fucking talk to you.
And I hate interrupting him in the middle of speaking, but man, that's you know, we and listen, you'll notice oftentimes I say we. When I say we, that's not saying me and you, that's not saying you and so, that's not saying myself and my wife. When I say we, I'm just people in general, the collective we. You know, and not saying everybody, but that's just, you know, giving an attribute to, there are some individuals, groups of individuals at times, who share some of the things I'm going to say. But in terms of judging a book by its cover, like there is so much of that. You know, many of us have heard the stories of like people saying they get in the elevator and a lady next to them may clench her purse or move to the other side and look scared and nervous and stand in the corner, or walking down the street. Maybe somebody may cross the street, and you know, and I've kind of talked about that in one of my other videos in terms of, you know, the decisions we make as individuals from a safety standpoint. So I get that, but you know, I kind of think that's where he's going here, and like man, this is like, I can see, you know, what his buddy's talking about. I can see from that perspective. And I only say that because like I've been in those shoes before. I've been a person who would just look at somebody and I immediately, you know, come up with a in my mind, oh, this person, just stereotypical, right? And whether it was racism or bigotry or however you want to define, or just stereotypes, regardless of how you want to address it or define it, I guess, like I've been that person in those shoes who's looked at somebody and figured, oh, this person is this. I'm sure they're like this or like that. So like I can see between the tattoos and just the skin, like I can see people looking at him and making that assumption, you know. as I'm sure people have looked at me and made assumptions as well, and I've looked at black people and made assumptions. I've looked at Asian, like I've looked at a lot of different people and made assumptions. Maybe that's something that we do more often than we realize, but oftentimes we are afraid to admit it, or oftentimes maybe we just aren't aware that we're doing it, but we are. But I think it's something that a lot of us deal with.
Because experiences as a black man in America, if I didn't know you and I saw you walking down the street and I'm hanging out with my black friends, I'm assuming you're racist before I even fucking talk to you. Because his analogy was, if there's a barrel full of snakes and half of them are poisonous, I don't have the fucking time to stick my hand in and figure out which ones are poisonous and which ones aren't. Because at the end of the day, they all fucking bite. That's what he.
That's an interesting analogy. That's an effed up way to look at things, but I admire that whoever he was speaking with was transparent enough to be like, hey, this is the way I look at it, this is the way I would feel about the situation, so I think that's great content,
That to me. And it's he's my friend, but it's that mindset that a lot of people, and I'm not saying that he's wrong, but it's not something that I relate with being from Canada. And it's that mindset that a lot of people came to me on Facebook with in response to the mumble rap videos, and at the end of the day, like, that's what I was responding to with this record. You can only read these things on Facebook for so long until it does start touching you on some emotional level, and it does like start to anger you and stuff. So some of this is fueled from anger. I did my best to have it come from an angry place at times, but not a hateful place. But some of it was done intentionally so that people stop and say, well, that's bullshit. He shouldn't have fucking said that. Because the reason this is taking place in a classroom setting is because this is a learning environment and an environment that incites discussion. So like, I want some of those people to say, hey, this is bullshit, you shouldn't have said that. I need those people. That's what's going to spark the conversation. So.
I definitely understand. Reason being, I just moved from Belize not too long ago, and race is not really like something we focus on. Like, we know there's Chinese people, we know there's different types of people, but we don't really focus on black or white.
Yeah.
So a couple months moving out here when I was going to community college, and there was something happening, but I can't remember what happened. But one of my friends at the time on the track here, he was like, "Oh, that happened because you're black." And I looked at him, I was like, what does that mean? Like, I didn't understand what the context of the joke, so like I had to ask him, he explained it, and that's how I learned about race. So I definitely relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't that, it's not such of a non-issue in Canada where it's at a point where people wouldn't understand something like that. Like, it definitely does exist in Canada, but not to the degree of intensity that exists out here.
Right.
So, so yeah, that's where I'm at. So I just wanted to, the reason I told everybody about it on the phone is just, I didn't think it was fair to bring everybody here and then to play the song and expect everybody to just deal with it, which is why I sort of gave everybody a disclaimer on the phone, and that's why I wanted to play you guys the song right now. So as long as everybody's cool, we'll get on with it.
You know what, I'm really glad I went on ahead and decided, I'm just going to click every single link and check it out. Because this could have been one that I easily skipped over, like, well, this isn't a song, I'm not going to do a reaction video to that. All of my reactions aren't to songs. I got a couple that's around movies and some other things, but, I can react to a lot of different things, but I enjoy reacting to things that encourage thought, encourage conversations, people whose views I respect. Even if I don't respect a person's views, like, I think I would still do some reaction to the videos just to begin that conversation. Tom happens to be somebody who's, at least from what I know, whose viewpoints I respect. And there just seems to be a whole lot of openness and transparency with him. I admire the fact that, he could have got, here's what I think a lot of rappers do, man. I think a lot of rappers, they built their entourage, and their entourage consists of, their 10, 15, 20 people they've known all their life, and they're their best friends, and maybe they're providing for them and taking them on trips. And then they've got a whole bunch of yes men. I guess it can be yes women also, but like a whole bunch of yes men who, that's perfect. Anything you do, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's something. Instead of people stopping and being like, hey, bro, that's not it. Or you need to consider this. Or I don't like the way you, and from what I see so far, Tom seems like he's open to even if somebody were to come and be like, hey, in a respectful way, obviously, hey, Tom, I don't like that you do this. Why do you? And ask questions. It's like he'd be like, okay, well, this is my thought processes. This is why I did this or why I did that. So, yeah, this is video number 5 of a 24-part series from Steve Dab 317. My dedication to the Hog fam, what I'm learning now. My gift of sorts, if I may, to you. Hopefully you enjoy. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, because today a video will be dropping every hour on the hour. So for a full 20-hour period, I'm timed out. Anyway, Steve Dab 317. I'll see you on the next one in about an hour. Peace.